Hey you guys, so I'm back again going ahead and trying to show you how to do a fill in the blank free response on Canvas, okay? Now, here's a list of steps that you guys can go ahead and figure out. I know some people are fine with just like text steps, others are more visual, so I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do it, okay? Now you can pause the video and read the steps here if you need to. Know that the same thing for TEK alignment, item bank, and feedback is always going to be going the same way. Everything else for fill in the blank is very similar. It's just the last few steps that go ahead and change. I would say step 6. Okay, so, or 5 and 6, those two are the ones that go ahead and they change a little bit. So the first one's about free response, okay? Now, I'm a math teacher, so for me, free response is whenever I want my kids to go ahead and give me like just a number for whatever solution, right? So I usually go ahead and on my warm up that I had you guys making in previous video, I'm going to go ahead and click on that plus button. That plus button gives me all these different types of questions. We're in the beginner mode, so I basically am only teaching you guys a few things. So this is that fill in the blank. Fill in the blank. You're going ahead and you're given your question title. This is where I recommend going ahead and putting your TEK. Okay. Once you go ahead and you put your TEK, you can do your question stem. So it says type a statement and surround the word with brackets to indicate whether the student should fill in, right? This is where roses, you're going to go ahead and put in these little brackets for red. And then violets, you would put in these little brackets for blue, okay? So this is where you're going to go ahead and add in your question. For me, this is about possible outcomes. Really, I'm more so trying to see what these kids know about probability. So I can go ahead and write my question. What are the chances of landing on, and then I need to add my picture because I did this earlier and I do not remember which picture I used. So I'm going back to that same folder with my sample space. I have my warm up questions that I want. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click it here. All right. Now I actually want to go ahead and switch this with an easier one. Let's do 3. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add this. Remember, I'm just trying to get an idea of what these kids already know versus what they don't know. So I'm going to make sure all my simple questions are kind of first. What are the chances of landing on? I'm going to go ahead and just say B. Okay. Now, for the question, I can go ahead, I can make it stand out a little bit more. I can raise the font, whatever I need to, right? For my image, I can go ahead and have this be the center of the page. Right? These are basic editing things that if you know how to work on Word, you should know how to work here. Okay. I'm going to go ahead, put my answer. And because I have a few EBs, I want them to kind of start seeing answers in sentences. So this is where at the beginner stages, I'm going to go ahead and kind of write out the sentence for them. When it gets into more advanced, I can ask for a whole essay response if I wanted to. Just know that you would have to go back and read it. So I can say the chances of landing on B. I like it. The chances of landing on B is, and then this is where you would do your bracket. This is right next to your number 1 key. All right. That little bracket is just like a little tab. And I would say 1 out of 10. Right. Now, this is going ahead and being that free response. So this is me trying to see if the kids understand how to get that 1 out of 10. Right. Now, with your open entry, you can either do contains, close enough, exact match, specific correct answers, or a regular expression match. I don't recommend using regular expression match, especially if you're new to this. Contains means that if the kids end up doing a space or if they end up having anything to where their fraction is like a little spaced out, say for example, let me get back to the question. They go ahead and they end up doing a space right here, they'll still go ahead and get it right. Or if they say it's 1 out of 10 is the possibility, right? Then they'll go ahead and be able to get the answer still right. Close enough. This is where, if I'm not mistaken, yes, you're able to go ahead and be a couple letters off. So if one of the students wanted to be like, oh, it's 1/10, right? Then they're able to go ahead and spell it out. Exact match, this is what I use whenever I'm doing math. So I typically want the kids to go ahead and give me an idea based off whatever is there, right? And then specific correct answers, this is where if I was like, okay, they can say 1/10. They could also go ahead and spell it out, 1/10. They can also go ahead and just say 1 out of 10. Or if I expected them to go ahead and give me a percentage already, 1 at 10%, right? So this is stuff that you guys can go ahead and do if you wanted them to have specific correct answers, and this is how you use an open entry. There are also two others, Dropdown and Word Bank. I will be showing you how to go ahead and use those with the following, okay? So that's it for now. Know that your alignment outcomes can go ahead and be the same thing. For me, this is 7.6a. And then if I wanted to add it to the item bank, I could. This is just a warm-up question, so I'm not really going to be adding it, but I do have a spot for it. And I can do this with speed sheet questions. Nope, warm-up questions. And then I can add. Now, commentary, I don't want to add any comments yet. This is more so of like a pre-assessment for me to see if these kids got it or they don't. Normally, whenever I do these, I don't sync these to the grade book. So I know I checked the box earlier. I am going to be unchecking it just for future references. But this is how you guys can typically go about making your fill in the blank for your response question. Hope that helps.